It is Friday. It is the 27th. That makes it the last Friday, of course, in the month of September. October rolls around Tuesday, and by then we'll be well out of this wet pattern. All in all, I think we have fared pretty well, considering the weather and what certainly could have been much more intense. I'm not saying it wasn't. Indeed, it has been. Hundreds of thousands of people without power in Kentucky. And that number, of course, makes its way into the viewing area. I'll have the latest totals, latest estimates, anything I can get to you within what's left of the show. I'm going to say show, not half hour. I will. I say that to say this. The good news is that the other good news is that there is news tonight. One or two of the times that the power flickered on and off real hard. And by hard, I mean when it goes on and off repeatedly and real quickly. We lost a power bank, I did, and it has taken me the last 3 hours of pulling wires and devices and unplugging and plugging in to isolate it and get another power source rerouted and back to where I was going to have a show. A few minutes ago, I was pulling my hair out and unsure. So with that said, we'll talk with our judge executive. We'll talk with Licking Valley RECC. We'll have some numbers for you. Take a look at what's been going on outside and just what kind of a weather day it's been in the viewing area. All that will go to directly after just a few words from our sponsors. Please let them know you're watching every chance you get. And we'll be right back and wrap it up with the weather for tonight, your weekend, and the first few days of October.
I wonder, could this be our last trip together? What if I upset him? He might never call again. But what if I don't say anything?
Hey, Dad. Is something wrong?
Actually, are you okay?
If someone you know or love is struggling, contact Big Sandy Healthcare today.
Get ready for an experience like no other. Artrageous is coming to the Mountain Arts Center on Thursday, September 26, 2024. Artrageous isn't just a show, it's a celebration of art, music, and creativity. Born from the ashes of a burnt theater, this troupe of misfit artists, singers, dancers, and musicians has taken the world by storm. Be a part of the experience. Be Artrageous. Get your tickets now.
The Big Sandy Healthcare System family is excited to welcome and introduce to you their newest team member, Dr. Emily McCormick, DMD. From right here in Eastern Kentucky, Dr. McCormick joins Hope Family Dental and is excited to see and serve patients in Magoffin County. Call 349-5126 to schedule an appointment. Experience over 30 years of exceptional, impeccable elegance and beauty at Seasons Florist, now in Salyersville, offering the very freshest in floral designs, custom and in-stock wreaths, arrangements, gifts, and so much more that you'll have to visit to try to see it all. Plus, they have tuxedo rental, free delivery within the city limits of Salyersville, and you can even place orders after hours. Call anytime. Seasons Florist on Parkway Drive, 349-4000. Someone dies in the U.S. every 7 minutes from an overdose, and over half of the population gets or takes pills from a friend or a relative. And about 46 million and counting are exposed to narcotics in their drinking water. So don't toss them, flush them, or leave them lying around. Safely dispose of your unneeded meds anytime at Parkway Pharmacy,
where you can always talk to a pharmacist when you need one.
Summer is wrapping up, and that means back to school, football games, fall, and all the wonderful things that go with it. And the seasonal shop has got a large selection of Magoffin and UK merchandise ready to go. Beautiful jewelry and accessories to complement all of your outfits. And for the teachers, a full line of spa and pampering products that are perfect to help relieve a little stress after some long days. Fragrance lines to help maybe any classroom or dorm room feel more like home. And as always, a beautiful selection of home decor. If you haven't been in lately, very lately, stop in and get a preview of some of their fall and Christmas colors and styles. And remember, local delivery and layaway at the seasonal shop.
I believe in Kentucky.
I believe in Kentucky.
I believe in small town values.
And Mom and Dad and the things they handed down.
I believe some of the best people in the world are farmers. I believe in insurance that protects families, homes, and cars.
I believe in always finding a way to do what you love.
I am Kentucky.
I am Kentucky.
I am Kentucky.
For whatever reason, if your working days are over, don't do anything before you meet Grover. Social Security, disability, SSI, work injuries, wear and tear, and hearing loss. 888-9-GROVER. Green Tree Forest Products wants to buy your timber. Our skilled log procurement team has 4 generations and 70 years of experience buying over 24 million feet of hardwoods every year, which means you'll get the most dollars out of your logs and timber by calling any of our 3 locations in Sayersville, Moorhead, or Wallingford, Kentucky. In the Sayersville and surrounding area, call 495-1198. Green Tree Forest Products.
Johnson Central High School stands alone in providing the most college and career programs of study in one building throughout the entire state of Kentucky. This includes pathways in everything from the medical field to engineering, telemedia, welding, agriculture, and even aviation. And that's just to name a few of the 32 different choices. Work has also been started on a brand new state-of-the-art high school. So now is the time for your child to experience the power of opportunities in Johnson County schools.
There are several risk factors that may put a patient at risk for heart disease.
Especially people who have diabetes or hypertension or high cholesterol and have a family history of heart disease.
Neglecting to see a cardiologist can put you in trouble. You may develop problems that may not be reversible.
We see many people who do not have an actual diagnosis of a heart problem, but may be at risk of heart disease, and we do whatever we can to help mitigate that risk to help prevent disease in the future. ARH, more for Appalachia.
Whether you've got a new ride and you want it to stand out in the crowd, or you want your current ride to look and feel like a new one, no one does lifts, wheels, and tires better than Conley's. Stop in now for spring tire specials, free quotes, and 0% financing, or log on to conleytire.net. East Kentucky's premier entertainment venue is here. Pick your game at Outlaw Axe Country in Paintsville. Axe throwing, bull riding, cornhole, billiards, a full arcade, inflatables, and more. And don't forget to cash out with prizes and mine for gems before you go. Open 7 days a week and built for fun for 1 to 100. That's Outlaw Axe Country on Broadway in Paintsville. And snack on one of your favorites, Carnival Cravings, while you're there. Call for more or to book a party at 372-4-FUN. Pennies, and I mean pennies on the dollar in Paintsville. New items every week at Outlaw Bargain Pallet Store. Household goods, tools, toys, makeup, home decor, and so much more. And they're right by Outlaw Thrift and Consignment, the area's biggest and best consignment, full of new, nearly new, and gently loved kids and adult clothing, name brands, new styles, and most everything in the store is only $2. Shop and save it both on Main Street in Paintsville. Thanks to you, Fraser's Prater Drug has been voted #1 in customer satisfaction with Good Neighbor Pharmacies for the 7th year in a row. With curbside pickup for all of your prescription, allergy, or even multivitamin needs. Or come in and pull up a stool while you shop, or just visit downtown and treat yourself to something extra tasty or sweet. Where locally owned means a more personal, reliable, and friendly pharmacy. Fraser's Prater Drug. It's a big festival weekend in parts of Kentucky, and to no surprise, a lot of them having to back up and punt. The Chicken Festival, of course, had to call it off for a day and start later this evening, which has turned out to be a pretty nice little evening. The Sorghum Festival was closed all day. They were going to try to allow everyone in the big tent at 5 o'clock, and I think that was what they were able to do. The Walnut Festival for tomorrow, of course, was rescheduled to October the 12th. The Apple Festival in Johnson County is next weekend, and that should be A-OK. And I hope that everyone else out there watching this and all of your friends and family are okay. We don't know of any serious damage or destruction here in the viewing area, but there was some damages, of course, incurred, or more importantly, I don't have any storm-related injuries to tell you about tonight, but I do have a whole lot of information mostly centered around winds and electricity to leave you with this Friday. A lot of rain leading up to Tropical Depression Helene making its way into eastern Kentucky. And, of course, the rains associated with this previous hurricane made grounds soft. Trees have been falling all day in all parts of McGoffin County and other counties. There's very few county roads that haven't seen one or many fallen trees. The two biggest problems created by them were on Mash Fork earlier today. This was around 3 o'clock or so when I was there last. These two trees, well, this tree here on the Route 40 side had, of course, all of Mash Fork blocked completely off. Foothills Communications crews were working to remove that tree. On the other end of Mash Fork, on the 460 side, I'm told an even bigger mess by a downed tree or trees that had the road blocked there. Essentially, everyone at home in the middle of Mash Fork were staying there for a while, and no one was getting in. That was also keeping crews out of getting to some downed poles, utility poles in this area, and some other issues that are more than likely linked in at least a part of the most major power outage for Sagersville, McGoffin County. That is affecting Restaurant Row, Burning Fork, and the associated outages with that, which is more than 1,000 customers. And right now, at the 6 o'clock hour, I'm in the same boat with you all, curious as to when we might see that power restored.
The information that we received from AEP, Kentucky Power, was that they had, at last count, over 1,800 outage, with 1,300 of that being on Restaurant Row out toward Mash Fork. Mash Fork's got some trees that took out some power poles, and they're going to replace those, so no estimated time of repair. When it comes to Lickham Valley, last count they had 450 outage, but with them they are all over the county and all over the service area in McGoffin County, from Gunlock to Half Mountain up Trace over to Great Creek and just all over the county, and they're trying to get to those as fast as they can, so there's no estimated time of completion on those either. We've been out, as far as my crews have, cutting all the trees out of the road that we can on the county roads, but we can't touch any of them. It's on either power lines or on telephone lines, but Foothills and both the power companies have been real responsive about getting out and getting those off. But right now, what we've done is declared a state of emergency because of the power outage. You're looking at, I think, 8,000 power customers in McGoffin County, and over 3,000 of them at some point today have been without power. And what we've seen in the past is this generally will become a FEMA event, and it assists the utility companies and us as local governments in acquiring FEMA funds to fix whatever we have to fix during this emergency. And part of that requirement is declaring an emergency, and I've done that today.
That pretty well sums it up in regards to down trees and power outages is all the issues that we've really had to deal with today.
Yeah,
flooding has not been an issue, and winds, fortunately, as bad as they were, have not left any real structural damage that I'm aware of, at least.
We have had some reports of a couple of residences with trees falling and damaging their homes and their vehicles, but they've been limited. It's not been quite as bad as I was expecting because that wind was ferocious. I think the dry spell that we went through and the rain we had was a soaking rain, and I was concerned that maybe it had saturated enough to where the ground would be soft enough for the trees to fall, and it has. That's why we had a lot of power outages, but it's not as widespread as I feared it would be. This could have been catastrophic, as bad as an ice storm, given the strong winds and the rain that came with it.
And as high winds kept downing power lines throughout the morning and afternoon, crews of course, had to wait until at least the majority of that danger was gone before they could start to make repairs. As far as wind totals, 65 miles per hour in Fayette County. I think Pike County had a 54 mile per hour gust recorded. That was in the upper elevations up around Dorton. Harlan had a 51 mile per hour gust. A lot of other counties had 40 mile per hour gusts. Now, my official number for the studio, and I always want to stress the studio, our weather monitoring equipment is literally outside on the front of the building, so it is shielded to some degree from the highest winds. You get above the building, you get in a wide open space. I am certain that McGoffin County saw more than a 35 mile per hour wind, which was the biggest gust that I clocked here earlier today. If you have any monitoring equipment and I do have a number that you clocked today, or anytime, we would always certainly love that information. But as of right now, that's just how swift it got in the immediate downtown area, which again is shielded by my and other downtown buildings and structures. With that said, the most recent numbers as far as outages, Kentucky has about 2.2, almost 2.3 million customers or counts, if you will, and out at the 5:15 time frame, which is where I pulled this video, we're still 219,000 customers in McGoffin County, of course, and Johnson County, with Johnson County seeing fewer per population, with, of course, all the fall colors there, if you will, reds, yellows, oranges, and the like, centering around eastern Kentucky more so than far western Kentucky. Now, Fayette County did, out of 164,000 customers just a few moments ago, still have 39,000. What was the peak of your situation, and where are you now?
In our total system, we had a peak of about 6,000 out. They, due to a lot of that was due to a couple of substations being down. We still have one substation down in Morgan County. Morgan County, we've got 1,500 still out, and most of that, like I say, is due to the Maytown substation being down. In McGoffin County, right now, we have a total of 360 accounts out. The worst problem is with that, they're spread out sort of all over the county. And it makes it a little tougher to get those last ones back on. So hopefully, maybe by the end of today or at least the end of tonight, the Buffaloes will be back on.
Okay. Have you had any other complications that pretty much just run-of-the-mill normal for you out there today? Has everybody been safe and everything kind of standard?
Yeah, sort of standard stuff. During high wind situations and when the ground got saturated, even though I know we'd had a lot of dry times, but when that ground gets saturated and you get the wind that we had the last 24 hours, it's really wreaked havoc on these trees. And some rather large trees actually, surprisingly, have went down. And that causes a lot of trouble. You know, breaks poles off, breaks their lines. You know, it's just but there again, that's what typically happens.
And I'll go ahead and let you do it for me, but I want to make sure I didn't wrap up the show today before stressing the fallen trees aren't over. Just because the rains and the winds are over, we're liable to see continued trees to fall here the next day or two or several.
Yes, for the next several days because of this, because this wind has weakened them. And sometimes we just wonder why in the middle of the night a tree will fall. And so it can happen. And I stress, and everybody that I talk to, I stress this, do not go around any power lines that are laying on the ground. I know that just because they're laying there and it looks like there's no energized lines there, they still could be. And you don't know when somebody may put a generator on too that may not be hooked correctly, and that backfeed power back through, and you would get 7,200 volts going backwards through that. So I stress again, do not touch or get around any down power lines.
And taking a look elsewhere, seeing what other states are enduring. We're talking about 4 million people plus without power as a result of Hurricane Helene. When you break it down by state, just a short time ago, South Carolina had the most outages. Florida customers, almost 11.5 million, and about 3/4 million were without power just a short time ago at latest report. And you go up to Georgia, out of nearly 5 million, almost a million, about 930,000 outages still in Georgia. Going further on up the East Coast and in our direction, those numbers actually, for some states, climb. Look at South Carolina, 2.8 million customers. That means over a third of them without power at 1.1 million outages just as of a couple of hours ago. A lot of these numbers, of course, are going to start to fall fast. Some of them, however, are going to see them start to level off as well. North Carolina, 5.8 million customers and almost 900,000 outages. Tennessee, 3.2 million customers, 105,000 outages. And Kentucky, as we saw earlier, 2.2 million customers, 224, that down to about 220,000 now outages. Virginia and other states as well in the neighboring part of the United States seeing significant power outages as well. And then when you look at parts of Florida, one of the most beautiful parts of Florida, and don't get me wrong, all of Florida's beaches are Florida's beaches and they're beautiful and lovely, but the Anna Marie Island area is one that I'm just most fond of, and that was where I actually spent vacation just this past July and a few out of the past number of years. Anna Marie Island actually encompasses Bradenton Beach, Anna Marie Island, Cortez, Coquina Beach, and the list goes on. Just some beautiful areas that just are left in shambles. These are some of the pictures that were shared by local authorities and some residents there who woke up to this. We're still awaiting the official death toll at this hour, but it appears as though that number stands at 30 already and will continue to climb. Asheville, North Carolina, that's a whole other story. You can find so many images from Asheville. I just have time to share one with you. This is standing on I-40 overlooking the parkway below. Some parts of Asheville got 26 to 28 inches of rain, a solid 20 for most all parts of that area, which is just hard to comprehend. Now to look at Doppler radar and what's happening out there at the hour. We are talking about clearing for a little while, and we actually saw some blue skies over Salyersville, which are more cloud covered now than they were, but however, we're still seeing dry conditions now. Not everyone in eastern Kentucky, of course, is doing so. You can see that one strand there to the right, which is kind of circled and went around the viewing area and to our north and getting up into the Ohio area and towards Indianapolis and Indiana. Lexington, parts of Louisville, certainly western Kentucky still in on the rain. They might pick up several more inches of rain tonight and tomorrow. This thing's going to spin around before it leaves them, and they're really going to see a lot more. We're not going to see quite so much. Now, I can tell you, I picked up almost exactly an inch today. That's all I got in downtown Salyersville. That puts us at 3.5 inches of total rainfall for this whole event. And that goes back to the day before, actually, the couple of days before Hurricane Helene came into town. But we're talking about 3.5 inches of rain this week. Again, 35 miles per hour today was the biggest gust of wind, but I want to stress that was down here on the street level in front of my office and not an accurate representation of what I'm sure were much stronger winds. I'd love to hear what you had in the viewing area if you've clocked anywhere else. With that said, weather-wise, well, here's where we stand. We stand to see some more showers and maybe some thunderstorms between now, the end of your weekend, and actually the first day or two of next week. I mean, it's just going to kind of linger for a little while, and then we'll have another system that kind of gives us a decent shot of some more showers and storms. But the hurricane is almost over. 61 tonight. Southeasterly winds 4, 5, up to 10, 20 mile per hour gusts at times. Keep that in mind. But as you saw on the radar, only a 10% chance of showers for the rest of your evening. That pretty much sums up where we can relax here in the viewing area for at least tonight. Tomorrow, for your Saturday, a 50% chance of showers early and a 70% chance of showers later tomorrow night. We're talking about a 1/10 to a 1/4 of an inch during the day tomorrow, another 1/10 to a 1/4 of an inch of rain possible tomorrow night. So cloudy, light showers, and that pretty much sums up your Saturday with a 72 and 60 degree high and low. For your Sunday, pretty much ditto, 72, 60 again, and clouds, and an 80% chance of some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms in the middle of the day between 2 and 5, a 1/10 to a 1/4 of an inch by and large unless we see a good thunderstorm develop. Monday, still holding on. 73 and 80% chance of some showers and thunderstorms. Not a major rain maker, but still the same. It is Tuesday that we'll see some sunshine, and Wednesday that I think we'll see our first dry day. And lastly, I've been sitting here messaging while I've been off camera, and I have no new information to give you in regards to when the power is going to be restored to all those folks who are not able to watch the show, at least on their TVs. Maybe they're streaming on our YouTube channel, which I hope you do whenever you can't watch the program. But no new updates from Kentucky Power. I don't even have an initial time frame to share with you at this hour, and I apologize for that, but we've reached out and just could not really get any type of information except for what you get when you go to their website, and that was a 7 to 12 hour time frame, and those are just, I know, general statements and not a real time after folks get into the field and crews start to really assess the situation. So far, I've not been able to reach any of those to give you any time of any real definitive time or at least a good guesstimate as to when power is going to be restored to a lot of customers here in McGoffin County on Kentucky Power. So watch our social media channels. I'll be putting it on my personal Facebook page, the Sagersville Independence, as well. As soon as I hear something, you'll be the next to know. And that will do it for tonight and for this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for understanding on a bit abbreviated of a program tonight, but literally, at 5:45, I didn't think there was even going to be a show. With that said, to all those who will be cleaning up and making repairs over the course of the weekend, be safe, and everyone, at any time, heed the warning of Kerry Howard with Licking Valley RACC. Never assume that a power line, just because it looks safe and dead because it's down in the ground and nothing's happening, don't assume it is. To stay away from down power lines at any time. And while the flooding has not been an issue, never drive through high water. It just never works out well, and it has certainly seemed to have proved fatal here. And not just Kentucky, but elsewhere. So with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you back here Monday as we're going to wrap up October on that next show. Good night.